Hi guys, this is Dormouse03.
And I'm Iron Praetorian.
Welcome to Ramblings of Mad People, Part 2, Topic Discussion Edition.
Yeah, we haven't come up with a working title yet, but...
Yeah. Maybe it's Topics with Mad People.
Or Maddening Topics.
Maddening Topics. Oh my god, that's so good. I like that. Maddening Topics. With Dormouse03 and Iron Praetorian. And today, we are going to talk about Burnout. Specifically, gaming burnout.
Yes. So, I think over the last few years, I've definitely been suffering from trophy and achievement hunting burnout.
Mm-hmm.
Like, end of 2020, I hit a wall, which I'd never hit before, where I was playing Lego Marvel Superheroes 2, and I was so annoyed with having to get all the achievements in the DLCs that game just kind of, I don't know, broke my love for achievement hunting.
Yeah.
Like, something just kind of snapped. As if it was like, why am I doing this? Like, this wasn't fun. Whereas before, even with some of the more challenging or longer grindy games, I just kind of pushed through. And there was that like payoff at the end, you get the completion, that's great. But with this one, it was just painful, for want of a better word.
Yeah. Felt like going through the motions and then it was over.
Yeah.
Without much sense of reward or accomplishment, would you say?
It was like the sense of reward and accomplishment didn't pay off for the like annoyance or like time spent.
Yeah. And ever since then...
Well, that was the moment I think I realized that I was kind of tired of doing all the DLCs in every game that I played, and I was like, sorry, I was just kind of looking at my account and going, I've kind of backed myself into a hole because I have 100% in every game I played.
Yeah.
But I don't want to continue to do that necessarily. But I also don't want to lose my 100%. So I decided to kind of move to PlayStation, where I can complete the base game, and then I don't have to worry about dealing with DLCs or play the DLCs that I want to play, or play parts of the DLCs that I want to play and not have to worry about the stupid parts. Like Dunwall City Trials, where I've done like 75% of it and then left the ones that I know are gonna be irritating.
Right. Not have that payoff, right, for the time and annoyance that you spend trying to do them.
But I feel like I've brought my baggage with me to PlayStation as well, where maybe it's my feelings towards trophy and achievement hunting that have changed, and not necessarily it being an Xbox problem, but kind of it being an inherent Rob problem.
Or an inherent problem with trophy and achievement hunting. I think, this is something that people talk about often, I think, and that just after so long doing it, it feels grindy, it starts to lose the joy that it once had, and it feels more like a job, or like you're just churning through these games without experiencing the same enjoyment that you did when you first started.
Yeah, and it feels like I'm just eating my time. Like, we're in April already, and I have no idea where the last 3 months went. I've just been working and gaming, because gaming is like my biggest social side of things. Like, it's my biggest like social,
like leisure time activity.
Yeah. Sorry, leisure. My hobby, right? It's it's the hobby that I devote my most amount of time to.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not something that's quick. Especially, like, I just finished The Witcher 3. That's like hundreds of hours.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 100 hours probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was just thinking of all of the times I've done it when I just...
Yeah.
What I mean is the time that I did it this time.
Yeah.
And also, like, trying to spice things up a bit with, like, I'll make some challenges for myself to maybe try and, like, reinvigorate what I'm doing, but then I feel like I've made it worse. Because I'm, like, limiting myself on games to play because I want to hit certain milestones with certain platinum trophies, and so I'm like, well, I can't play... I have this set number of games that I'm going to play to get to that point. So if I play something else, that means that this game isn't complete, or I run the risk of unlocking more trophies, and then I'm screwed. And...
Well, I think what you've done is just made it even more like a job, right?
Yeah.
Scheduled for March, you have The Witcher 3,
Lego The Hobbit, Rani and Ancient Epic, Coffee Talk, Red Dead Redemption 2, and
right? Like, and here is your schedule for April, and here is your schedule for May, and here is your schedule for June, and you cannot deviate from this schedule, or else
the
you
world
will
will
be
end.
fired
Out of a cannon.
trophy hunting.
Yeah. You will be used as ammunition.
And
Go ahead.
And it seems like, I understand why you did that, because it's kind of like trying to find something that will feel fulfilling, right?
Yeah.
Like, if I hit this milestone with this platinum, like, that'll be awesome. But then it takes so long to get there and so much meticulous planning to get there. And it's like you're regimented into these games that you can do, and you can't deviate from that, or else you're going to mess up what you were trying to do. It's like, is the reward for that enough?
No.
For the pain that it's causing,
I feel this is the milestones on PSN profiles. So you get before you hit 5,000, it's every 500 trophies you get a milestone, and every 25 platinums you get a milestone. And so I want games that I like the name of the plat, or I like the game. So I have, like, Rise of the Tomb Raider, which platinum trophy is just platinum, but I like that game.
Yeah.
And so I wanted that to be a milestone. Whereas, like, I'm trying to think. Lego Jurassic World.
Yeah.
Life Finds a Way. I like the name of the platinum. I also like Jurassic Park, so it was a win-win.
Yeah.
But it's just, I think it's just hard trying to find that rhythm where you feel like you're accomplishing enough, but you're also not doing too much, or doing it in such a way that makes you feel negative about what you're doing, like how you're gaming, how much you're gaming, how quickly you're getting the plats, how slowly you're getting the plats, or gamer score, or 100%. And then, like, looking back at previous years or comparing yourself with other people, where it's like, oh, Dormouse got this number of plats this year. That's almost as many as I have. Like, I think you're on, like, 7 or 8.
For this year, I have 10.
Right. I have 10. I haven't done any Xbox. You've done Xbox as well, and I'm sat here going, I feel like I've done as much or more gaming than you have this year, and I'm somehow behind, knowing full well that I've done, like, 100-hour games this month, but it's still like, and I think I have to get over the the, like, that representing the negativity.
Yes.
Of, like, comparison, competitiveness being the, like, thief of joy, where it's like, oh, I actually thought I was doing quite well, but this other person is doing better than I am, and that makes me feel worse about what I'm doing. And it's like, does that really matter?
Yeah, like,
should it matter?
If one person has different numbers than you do, right? Should that really impact the enjoyment that you're getting out of it? And obviously it does. You know, gaming is inherently such a competitive thing these days, right? There's leaderboards and all these tracking sites, and it tells you your rank in the world and in your country in comparison to your friends, and you know.
Yeah, it's like comparing everything to everyone else is everything.
Yeah. And so those kinds of things sort of make it even easier to get stuck in that mindset of I should be doing as much as, if not more than, other people, because I consider myself to be a good gamer, and so I should be better than other people. Or if I'm putting in the same amount of time or more time, then I should have more.
Yeah. When that isn't like a linear graph. I put more time in, I should have more. It's like, what are you doing with that time? Like, if you're playing 100-hour completions and someone else is playing 3-minute completions, then there's no way you're ever going to be able to keep up with that amount of like accumulation of score. And I gave up on that a long time ago with Xbox, because there were certain people on my friends list that were just playing what I call trash, because they're like less than an hour completions. And they're literally like 2-star games, 1-star games. This was rubbish. I'm spending $3 to $5 on a game. And so keeping up with that was just completely impossible. And so you just radically accept that kind of has polluted the gamer score, like the gaming for gamer score community.
Yeah, and for platinums as well.
Yes,
you know, there
I was
are
going to say that too.
Plenty of it's the same. They're both the same as each other, right? That there's plenty of these games that are just they're sort of designed for that, right? I feel like almost they target people who want those quick completions, because they're cheap and they're short and they're easy, and there's generally not much game there. You know, I can't say for sure for all of them, because there's hundreds if not thousands of these things at this point. And so, you know, is there, you know, good gameplay there? Probably with some of them there is. It's kind of like the oldie Avatar: The Burning Earth, right?
Oh yeah,
that was like always the one
cheap, easy one that everyone went for.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not even cheap, but the easy one, the easy completion, because it's like you could complete it in 5 minutes or something like that.
I feel like it was cheap because there were certain people that were buying the game and then selling it cheap on to the next person so that they could get it, and then they'd sell it on to the next, and so on.
Fair enough. But like, yeah, that was the one that kind of a decade or more ago, that was the one that's like, if you had that on your tag, you knew that you were, you know, out for easy gamer score, right?
Yeah.
But there was an actual game there. It's just the achievements didn't take long to do.
No, it was like getting combos, and you could get that like in the training or right in the beginning of the first level.
Yeah.
And then I think the problem is like falling into that trap of chasing numbers because other people are chasing numbers, and then that just becomes the all-consuming need of how many. Like, we've been at this for years, and we've done it. We've been at this for years, and it's just like we put the burden on ourselves of, I need to get this amount of gamer score, this number of completed games, this number of platinums to feel like we're accomplishing something.
Right, because we're looking at previous years going, well, this is how much I am used to doing, so I should be doing that again or better.
But it's like, is that still bringing us happiness, right? Like,
Right.
does that level of completion equate to more happiness? Like, is that the linear graph we're going for? More gaming equals more happiness. And it's like, that doesn't exist. That's not how it works.
No, that's not how it works. And I think I've noticed that for me, when I've felt that feeling of burnout, of being like, oh, where did my time go? I'm not enjoying myself. Why am I doing this? Etc. When I have felt that, it's been when I have been overly focused on my numbers and getting enough and trying to meet certain goals, when it feels more like a job, right? When I'm trying to meet deadlines and try to outperform other people, right?
Yeah.
Because I remember there was a time when I was working long hours at my job, and I was still trying to complete 3 games per month, and it was just not tenable with the type of games that I had and how long they took and how much free time I had. It wasn't possible to keep up with that, because
I think even just playing like average games of like 25 to 40 hours, it was like, it just wasn't tenable because you were working so often. I think it was when we first became friends back in like 2015. You'd just come off of like college and had more time, and then you went into full-time work, and then I was unemployed. I had so much time that I was just steamrolling through like long games. I did like Dark Souls in like 5 days. And it was like, that game takes people a long time to do. Like, that should take weeks.
Yeah, especially when it's your first time playing through a Souls game.
Yeah, and you're going for all the trophies or all the achievements in as a fewer runs as possible.
Yeah.
But I don't want to go back to that. I don't think at this stage that I would want to be plowing through games as quickly as I used to. Because I don't have as much time. Because I used to just game all day and all night, which was not healthy. And also I just don't have the depth of games.
Yeah, back then you had a bunch of games with gold.
Yeah.
That you were able to play.
That's what Dark Souls was. That was the games with gold.
Yep. And now that program has ended and you've played all the games with gold games that you are interested in playing. And so that catalog has dried up for you, and you don't have Games Pass. And so you don't have access to those games.
I do have Games Pass, but I have the lowest variant, and so it has like a set library of games, and I've done all of them bar like 2, I think.
Yeah. And so, just not having the library to choose from. So plowing through them would just leave you with nothing to play, or you'd have to dump more money into it.
Or I would end up maybe going back to old games and playing them and not getting achievements and trophies, and then feeling worse because I'm not getting achievements and trophies. And that's another part of it, is like you're putting the worth of your gaming time into acquiring trophies and achievements, when gaming for gaming's sake isn't worth time, like isn't worth the time you put in because you're not getting trophies and achievements. Or if you want to go back and play the Mass Effect trilogy because it's your favorite game of all time, no, you've done all the trophies, time to go off and do other things.
Time to move on. Yeah, it's
kind of sad.
Yeah, and it's like, I think that for me, I feel best when I'm hitting a balance between playing a game and just enjoying it right? Enjoying the playthrough, not worrying about how long it's taking, not worrying about following a guide, or, necessarily getting all the trophies or achievements as quickly as possible, and also still achievement and trophy hunting, right?
Yeah.
So, like, especially for something that's shorter or that doesn't have a bunch of missable achievements and trophies, trying to just kind of play through and then go back and clean up in achievement hunter mode,
I think that's the problem I'm having now, is I'm so focused on the numbers and the milestones that I've got tunnel vision, and I'm starting a game and going, how quickly can I get through this game to get to the next game, and not even enjoying the game that I'm playing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to get through it as efficiently as I can, which is fun sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I really enjoyed doing that with The Surge, where I played through it once, and then I played through it a second time and, like, hammered through.
Yeah.
And got the, like, fastest time on PSN profiles for the 100%. And I was like, oh, that's great. But I don't want to be doing that with every game, but that's what I'm doing with every game.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, that was fun because you played through it once.
Yeah.
And, didn't do that. And then it was kind of like a little fun challenge to yourself, like, can I optimize this game and do it fast?
I'm struggling with balancing. I think that's the main problem I have. I'm having with feeling burnt out is that I'm not enjoying what I'm doing, but I'm continuing to do it and not enjoy it because I've got to hit this milestone, or I've got to, get this number of plats, or it's hard to kind of pull yourself out of what you're doing and look at it from a, like, am I really enjoying it?
Yeah.
Do I enjoy this as much as I was in the past? Or was past me different? Am I different from past me?
Yeah.
Are times different from past me as well? Because there's, social pressures and life, the universe, and everything going on.
Yep.
It's been over a decade since we started. Like, for both of us, I think it was about 2010 when we were actively starting to achievement hunt and trying to get 100% and stuff. That's, 13 and a half, 14 years ago.
Yeah.
It's a long time. Like, I'm in my mid-30s now. I'm not a 20-year-old.
Yeah. And so I think it's probably all of those things. We're different than we were 10 years ago, 12 years ago. Gaming is different than it was back then. Achievement and trophy hunting is different than it was back then. And it's different for us too, because I remember when I first started achievement trophy hunting, I had a bunch of incomplete games on my gamer tag. And part of the fun of it was going back to those games that I'd already played and seeing how much I could complete in them. Can I get these complete? And so it's different now because I've completed the vast majority of those things. There's still a few hangers on, like Explosion Man and Dance Central were, that I cleaned up,
Yeah.
And that feels cool, and it like was a callback for me to those times in the past when I was doing that with almost everything,
It was a nice little nostalgia kick.
Yeah. And it's like that same sort of feeling of like, this is a game that I played before and I wasn't sure if I could complete it, and now I did complete it, and that's awesome. But that's not the main thing that we're doing anymore. The main thing that we're doing now is starting a game and then playing that game to 100% completion and then starting the next game. And that feels a lot different, because it starts to feel like that hamster wheel, that churning, The
game doesn't matter, it's the 100% that matters.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, I think when it feels out of balance is when it starts to feel more like burnout to me, where it's like I'm not either in one way or the other, right? So either I'm not enjoying the game because I'm just trying to get the completion and move on to the next one because I only care about the numbers, or I'm just playing the game kind of for fun, and then maybe it takes a long time to complete it, or I have to do an extra playthrough to do the trophies and achievements, and then that feels grindy, and I feel like, I'm ready to be done with this already, but I can't because, I wanted to play it for fun, And so I think whenever it tips onto either one of those sides for me, I start to feel negatively about it. And when I can hit that sweet spot of I'm enjoying the game and I'm playing for the enjoyment of the game, and I'm also trophy and achievement hunting and I'm accomplishing that fairly efficiently as well, and I can strike a balance there, that's when I feel less burnt out, and that's when I feel the best.
Yeah, I think for me, the way forward is probably to set more reasonable goals. Play games a little slower. Enjoy the game for what it is, while still earning the trophies. Like, I'm still fine with using a guide, especially when the vast majority of the trophies or achievements are missable, and the game is like more than 20 hours. Because I don't want to have to play through a game again if it's like 25-30 hours long for one achievement.
Yeah, especially if you're doing that back to back.
Yes, which we tend to do because we would like that game complete. Because it's like, well, we're perfectly capable of getting this done. Because sometimes I'll leave a hard difficulty until a little bit later, where I'm like, okay, I'm now in the right zone to get this done.
Yeah,
I did that with the legendary edition of Mass Effect on PlayStation, where I'd got the platinums and the legendary edition achievements, and the legendary edition trophies are a separate little list on their own, so the only things I had left was to do the insanity runs, and I was like, I'm going to do those when I feel in the mood, because Mass Effect 2 can be a right shit.
Yeah.
And so I left it until later, and I enjoyed it a lot more, like just going, okay, insanity mode, let's go. I would like to hit 150 platinums this year, because I would like a 50 platinum year, just to say I've done it once. But going forward, I think rather than having to do 4 to 5 plats a month, because that's how it works out averagely for doing 50, is you need 10 months at 4 and 2 months at 5. I'm like, does the math make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
40 plus 10.
40 plus 10. Yeah, my brain just like went, yes. It's 1 a.m., okay? Yeah, so rather than doing 4 to 5 platinums per month, I feel like I would be happy with like 2 to 3, especially if the games are longer. And having like a month where you do 5 or 7 at certain points, because you're like, oh, I've got a collection of shorties and I feel like doing those. And not feeling like I have to just pump out platinums and I've played longer games and so I'm behind at this point. But also feeling like I'm still hitting a couple of milestones a year. I'm getting through enough of my games that I don't feel like my backlog's building up. And also getting to a point where I can give the PlayStation exclusives the time that they deserve, and not just be like, right, hammer through this because I've got to get to the next thing, and hammer through this, and hammer through this, and hammer through this.
Right, yeah.
Because it's like, the original Uncharted trilogy is supposed to be quite good. Lost Legacy is supposed to be quite good. God of War, Spider-Man, etc. Because there's plenty of PlayStation exclusives.
There's bunches.
But it's like, I'm kind of like, I would like to give those the time that they deserve and not feel like I'm just hammering through them, which I have done with some of the other PlayStation exclusives. Actually, I haven't. I'm just thinking about it. I haven't. I did the PlayStation exclusives that I've done fairly early when I was slow, like Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
I gave that plenty of time when I played through it.
Yep, and Uncharted 4.
Yep, because they're like some of the first plats I have. And then I haven't really done any since.
Yeah.
I've done very, very few.
Yeah, well, because I think we originally got our PS4s as kind of secondary consoles to be able to play the exclusives.
Yeah.
And
I bought mine to play No Man's Sky.
Yeah, and then we
which wasn't exclusive.
Transitioned, to having them more as a main console. And so, yeah, back in the beginning, you were playing more exclusives, and then you haven't.
So I think to like wrap up on Burnout, at least how I feel about it, set more reasonable goals, stop comparing myself to my past self and other people, enjoy gaming for what it is, enjoy trophy hunting for what it is. So if you want to enjoy a game, maybe check a few guides on the missables, but just play through, like you said. And then maybe, if the game isn't too long, don't check anything, play through it, and then use a guide for the second run just to clear everything up.
Yeah.
I would like to still play some Xbox. Like, there's a few games I would play on there, maybe like Hogwarts Legacy I would do again on Xbox. I will, once Mirage has had all of its DLCs out, I will play that on Xbox, because I have the rest of the Assassin's Creeds on there. Like, I'm not writing Xbox off completely, but I have been so focused on PlayStation that it's taking a back seat at the moment. Just feeling happy with what I'm doing, rather than forcing myself to try and be happy doing what I did before. Yeah,
trying to be happy with what you're doing rather than what you think you should be doing.
Yeah. Chasing happiness rather than chasing numbers.
Yeah, just trying to enjoy things more. And I think for me is very similar to what you said. It's just finding a balance, right? Trying to find a balance and trying to avoid getting stuck in the numbers trap, because it really can be a trap, especially when you start to get some completions. I find it that way when I'm doing some shorter games. Sometimes it'll be like, ooh, I completed this one, then I completed that one, and now I completed this other one, and I just get into this like numbers spiral.
And then when you hit the next big game, you're like, why is this taking so long?
Right,
it's
why
like,
is it taking so long?
Because it's a longer game.
Yeah, why didn't I do 6 games this month the way that I did last month? And it's like, you need to stop with that mentality, right? And it's just, it's easy to fall into, for me, I'm also trying to spice things up a little bit for myself by going back and doing some of my older games that I do still have a few achievements left in, or trophies left in, and trying to challenge myself to clean a few of those up. And I think that's been cool and a nice little break from like just starting a game and then playing it to completion right away. Yeah. And I've also been using like a randomizer, a spinny wheel, to...
I like trying to predict what games you've been getting.
Yeah, to like choose, okay, am I going to do an Xbox game or a PlayStation game this time? Okay, it's a Games Pass game. I have a list of Games Pass games that I want to play. And I'll spin the wheel 3 times and give myself 3 choices, right? As to, okay, and now I'm going to choose one of these 3 to play. And it helps with, number 1, the like decision paralysis of what do I want to play next.
Yeah.
And it helps also with having a little bit more variety, because then I'm not just doing shorty after shorty after shorty. It gives you more of a mixture when you're doing it that way, because I had a couple of shorties on Games Pass, but now I have Death Stranding was the one that I picked out of the 3 choices that I had for my next PlayStation backlog game. So
nice.
It should average out over time, to be...
Yeah, because it's random, and so as long as you've got a good spread on your backlog, and, like, Games Pass collection stuff, then... Yeah. It should even itself out over time.
Yeah, and as long as you're, spreading yourself out in terms of what you're choosing as well, because it's like, I could choose the shortest game every time, but that's also gonna lead me into that sort of slippery slope. And so it's like, I want to make sure that I'm choosing things that feel like they're, okay, this is a shorter one, this is a longer one, this is a medium one, etc. Out of the choices that I have. So that's been kind of good, I think, to help spice things up. But I think this is the last point that I have, is trying not to put myself in a vice grip, right? That, the goals that I've set for myself, or the games that I've decided that I'm gonna play, like I'm gonna do the spinner wheel and then I'm gonna play one of those games, like all of that is just to try to have fun. And so if it's not fun, if I get 3 games and I'm like, I'm really just not feeling any of those 3, I'm gonna play Spider-Man instead, right? Like, that's what I did. When I played Miles Morales, I was like, I don't think I even spun the wheel. I was just like, I feel like I want to play Spider-Man now. So
no, you didn't spin the wheel. You literally just went, I'm going to play Miles Morales. And I was like, oh, that sounds cool.
And so, it's like, you don't have to hold yourself, so tightly to these goals and ideas and things that you say that you're going to do, right? And it's like, you can be flexible within that. And it's not like, well, okay, I'm just giving up trophy achievement hunting completely, or I'm giving up gaming completely, or I'm not, I'm just going to do some sort of radical change to what I'm doing. But it's having some flexibility within what I'm already aiming for, right? And so I think for me, that's it. It's balance, it's flexibility, and it's trying to focus on the things that are making me happy.
And I think for me, mine is the beginning of dealing with my burnout and trying to find what makes me happy now rather than what made me happy in the past. And, just trying to work on that going forward. And it may take quite a while for me to figure out what I want to do. And that's okay.
Yep.
I'd be interested to hear what other people, how other people have been dealing with their burnout, whether you feel burnt out, whether you've come up with strategies to help you deal with that.
Yeah, like whether this is something that others of you have experienced, and if you have any tips to share with us and with each other, that's always great. It's good to have a discussion about these things because, burnout is not just a thing that happens with work or with your marriage. It happens with gaming. It happens in all areas of life whenever you feel like you're stuck in a pattern that's just not making you happy anymore, and I think there's multiple reasons why it can happen, and there's multiple ways to deal with it. There's no one solution that's going to work for everybody. But
because we're all so different.
Yeah. That was a little bit, about us and what we've experienced and what we've done and what we're trying to do. And we would love to hear from you guys about your own experiences. So thanks for coming along with us on this little experimental journey as we're trying out, talking about various topics related to gaming.
Rather than wrapping up our like monthly totals.
Yeah, as a little bit of a separate podcast, and we're aiming to do one of these per month. If you have ideas for topics for us, that would be cool too. Let us know.
Yeah.
But I think we're aiming to do one per month. We may end up doing more than that. We may end up doing less than that. It just depends on how much we have to talk about. Yeah. So, thank you for watching and listening. I hope that you guys are doing well and are not burned out. And we will see you in the next one.
Bye-bye.